Marhaban, Ahlan, welcome back. Well, at this point you're making great progress through the Arabic alphabet and we're almost home. And in fact, we've touched on most everything we need to know. So today we have two new consonants and these are two special consonants. Okay, so the writing of these will be fairly simple, but we want to focus on the speaking part. Now, just a little review. If you remember back when we talked about the H sounds, we said we had a regular H sound, which was our ha. Remember? Happy, Harry, hungry. Okay, and we had the emphatic, or what we call the hard H sound, which is the same sound except we put stress on it. Ha, ha, ha. Right, the ha sound. And that, of course, was this. And I mentioned at that time there were a series of hard and soft sounds. Well, we've only done one so far, so as you can guess, we're getting to the point of the course now where we're going to hit a lot of these, what we call emphatic or hard sounds. Now, the thing I want to stress here is that we have all of these sounds in English. We'll see a couple at the end that we really don't, but everything you're going to see today, we have this in English. We just don't use separate letters for it. This is why in English you can't look at a word and tell how to pronounce it. In Arabic, as you've heard me say, what you see is what you get. So, for our purposes today, let's call these the hard versus the soft sounds, right? And we know these are the emphatics. Well, today we're going to learn two of the hard or emphatic consonants. Well, if they're hard, that means they are counterparts of two letters we already know. So the first one is, letter we learned well at the beginning was ta. Now ta is just like T. Tickle, to. Right. Okay. Now, this has a hard component to it. Okay. Now, this letter is called ta. Notice the difference? Ta, ta. Right? It's a T sound, but a hard T sound. Now, this one is, I'll write ta up here for you. Ta is fairly easy to write, and it's a favorite. This is known affectionately as the golf club, because that's kind of what it looks like. And it's fairly simple to write. We make sort of a loop, and we add the line to it. Now, in print, you're going to see the line fairly over to this side. In handwriting, people tend to move the line more to the middle, but you get the basic shape here. So it starts to look very much like a golf club, and it goes all the way up to the top. You know, that's one thing about these emphatic letters. I mean, they look kind of big and strong. You can see how t is sort of delicate. This looks like it's got a big sound to it. So I think the writing of this is fairly simple. This is one that doesn't change at all depending on where it appears in the word. This is where it looks like by itself. If something connects into it, it's just going to connect here. That's it. It's basically got one shape, and that's all. In terms of writing, this one's a darling. Everybody likes it. And the pronunciation is not that hard. It's just like I say, we have it in English, but we don't tend to think of it. So let's take two words that you probably never have thought have different T sounds to them. Okay? Take, top. Take and top. Now, if you look at them, you tell me that's the same letter. Okay, now if you watch what happens to your mouth when you say this, take, 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 look where your tongue is. It's almost coming through your teeth. It's at the back of the teeth, t, and that's what makes a t sound, t, t, t. Now, say top, top. Notice where it is. It's going up higher in your mouth. And the easiest way is try and flip them. Try and say this word with your tongue here. Fa. You can't do it. Try to say this one. It doesn't work. Okay? So there is a different sound. Generally, anytime we have this O sound, it's a deeper sound. Take, take, top, top. Notice what my mouth does. Okay? That is the difference between the two ta sounds that we have. So let's look at an example. How would we say this? Tab, tab, right? Just like the word, like a pull tab in English. Tab. Why? Because that ta is at the front of my mouth, and so the whole word is going to be at the front of the mouth. Tab. The a sound is the front. Tab. Now this one we know, we pull it back into the mouth. Ta, ta. Tob, tob, tob. Now, you probably notice at this point that you really hear the difference in the vowel sound. Okay, so in English we use different vowels to indicate this. Now Arabic just happens to use different consonants to indicate this difference. But you really hear this difference in what it does to the vowel sound. Because ta is at the front, it's putting this vowel, the a at the front of my mouth. Tab, tab. Aw, right, the ta is deeper in the throat, and therefore if I do this, I can't do this and then easily put an a at the front of the mouth, right? So we get tob, tob. Once you pull the ta back into your mouth, it makes the whole word harder. Tab, tob. Okay, now they sound very similar, and it is difficult to hear the difference between them. That's why we have a number of exercises for you to practice those, but it's something that takes time to attune your ears to. So don't feel bad if you get them wrong, you're not quite perfect at it. That's quite all right. As long as you understand the difference, you're going to pick it up, particularly as you start to learn actual words. Okay, so that's our first one, ta and ta. What is the second? Okay, so for our second letter, it's very simple. All we're going to do is add a dot. Exactly the same shape with one dot, and that's all there is. There's a one dot variation, no two, no three, no below. Okay, so we have ta. Now this one, what is this sound going to be? Well, ta was the emphatic version of the ta. The is going to be the emphatic version of this sound, the thou. Now remember, the thou was in these, those, them, the sound. The, okay, the. See what I do with my throat to make this deeper. Okay, and that's basically where we're going to hear it, is in the vowels around it, making it deeper. The and the. Let's look at some examples of these letters. Okay, I have three words, and I think the ta's and da's kind of jump right out at you, that golf club shape. Let's look at the first one. Well, we know that this is a the, because it's got the dot, and the same thing, the dot represents that buzzing sound. Remember this letter? Haven't seen this for a while. This was our medial ha. Okay, and we know ra. Dhahira, dhahira. Notice how you hear it really in this vowel. So it's not dhahira, dhahira, dhahira. And that's the. That's what tells us it's this and not that. And with this one, the meme, have our ta, aleph, ra, matar, matar. Right? Not matar, not matar. When we hear it in this aleph, a deep sound. Matar, matar. Okay? Matar is an airport. And here is a very common word. Hopefully you will not need this word. Okay? But we have our ta at the beginning, a ba, a ya, and notice here I'm using the connection of the two dots. Get used to seeing that. Right? And ba. This is tabib, tabib. Notice it's not tabib, but we hear it in the vowel sound. Tabib, 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 tabib. Tabib is a doctor. So it's a good word to know if you're traveling, but hopefully you won't need it. So let's practice these, go do the exercises, and when we come back, we'll have something very important for you in this lesson. Shukran jazilan.